Alright, I just finished a playthrough where I completed unlocking every single Dynasty legacy, excluding the government specific ones. The government specific ones are very situational. You have to plan to be in that government basically the whole game in order for them to be better than a lot of these Dynasty trees that are very general for the whole game. I'll go through some honorable mentions because going through each one would take way too long. I don't think any of these in Heroic Bloodline are very strong. They won't impact your game very much. I don't recommend them. In Legitimacy, there is one that's pretty good if you're doing a Dynasty run, trying to install a lot of Dynasty members on thrones. This lasting line modifier makes a big difference over time, boosting their legitimacy. In Brilliance, this last one, for being the 5th legacy in a tree, unlocking this embellished capital decision is so weak. It gives you like 500 prestige. It's really underwhelming. I don't think any of these are very strong. If you're doing a lottie scheming, then this one is really nice because 20 days faster per scheme phase actually makes a big difference. In one of the perks in the tree schemer, I think it is, you can actually have two schemes running at the same time. And so 20 days off both of them makes a big difference. In this playthrough, with every single character I played as, I was doing a lot of schemes. So the second one is nice if you are doing that. Other than that, none of these other ones are very impactful. Metropolitan is actually my favorite tree. It's very much a mixed bag, I would say. This second one is really strong. Your dynasty members can get this Town Maven trait. It's based on how developed their county capital is, um, but +3 stewardship and +3 learning just added onto your character. Really strong. Just to kind of put it into perspective, you need 6 stewardship to get 1 extra domain limit. There's actually a 4th tier. So if you get the 4th tier in your heir, that's +4 stewardship. That's nearly an entire extra domain, which is, I mean, it's massive. So really, really strong. These two are unlocked by having your capital in the Iberian region. This last one is the reason that the Metropolitan Legacy tree is my favorite, expanding to cities. It's not that impactful in the game, but it is just really cool. So like this city, I'm in 1064, that's just the second age of the game, but there's already 5 building slots. Really cool. I like that, but again, not that impactful. I think if you go down the tree, you could um, stop here at the Town Maven. Now this Courtier is also really strong. Both of these are pretty strong, having your capital in the Iberian region. What's also nice is you don't need to change your culture for these. This one is really nice because court positions are just absolutely broken. If your court positions are not completely full, then you are just missing out on tons and tons of bonuses. I would recommend you fill this all the time, unless you're negative in gold. Um, I fill most of mine. I think some of these people died recently, unfortunately, so they're not full. But if we take a look here, this Nulia Sterling is one of my Dynasty members, and there is no cost unless I put her on a specialty. So, really cool. It saves you a lot of money, especially if you fill that out, which I do recommend. I think it's really strong. So this first one pretty strong. This second one very strong. Getting an extra 10% skills from your counselors. Kind of to put that into perspective, at this stage of the game, again, what is this? Not even 200 years in. All of my counselors have over 20. You're getting an extra 2 stewardship, 4 learning, 3 sorry, 3 stewardship, 2 diplomacy, almost 3 martial, and yeah, it's a lot of stats. It adds up. I think this is really strong. Maybe one of the strongest in the game. And then this is also really strong, similar to the second legitimacy for Dynasty runs, because the AI will use call house member to war, which just stabilizes their realm. The last two don't really deserve a mention, they're not very strong. These two Viking ones are also extremely strong, locked behind any kind of Norse culture. These first 3 in pillage are just absolutely insane. Prestige is actually one of the currencies that I use the most. So getting prestige from battle is really, really nice. What do I use prestige on? Well, once you get this fabricate by artifact claim interaction, I use one other mod, which is this one, and you can buy any artifact claim that you want. There's actually the most insane throne in the game right now. This one. This illustrious throne. If you max out your level of fame, it's giving you 5 diplomacy, 5 learning, 5% monthly renown. And then this one is even stronger. It's absolutely crazy. 5 diplomacy, 5 stewardship, which what we talked about. This gives you a whole extra domain just for having this throne. And then 5% renown. You can see up here I have 20 holdings. Most of this is from items, giving me extra stewardship. Alright, so getting that extra prestige from this Seawolves tradition or legacy really, really strong. Obviously having extra heavy infantry regiments is only good if you use heavy infantry. I do. They're really good. Probably the strongest men at arms aside from archer cavalry. So I like getting this one, and then this one is the absolute most broken Dynasty legacy in the game, increasing the gold from ransoms by 50%. A lot of ransoms will be like 100 gold, and you get just an extra 50 gold every time you ransom someone like that. Absolutely bonkers. I have 34,000 gold right now. A lot of that comes from, especially in the early game, comes from ransoming prisoners. The last 2 are weak. In adventure, I think this first one is probably the strongest, giving you extra diplomatic range. The reason diplomatic range is so strong, number 1, it lets you marry your kids to whoever you want. You can take a look at my diplomatic range. I make it so that I can literally interact with anybody on the entire map by claiming counties very far away. I have this county here. It has a unique building that gives me an extra 10% renown every month, which is pretty strong. This is a special university, gives me 5 stewardship, basically increasing my domain holding by 1. And then up here was to get the Buryat culture, which I really like. And then I took over this tiny island kingdom so that I could interact with all of these people over here. But that extra 30% makes a big difference if you do want to interact with the whole map, mainly for longer runs. A lot of these are for longer runs. I think this one's good no matter how long your run is, because of the send gift cost. If, let's say my priest didn't like me, and I want to send him a gift, instead of 200 it's only 100, which is kind of a big deal if you're doing that a lot. If you're revoking a lot of land from Dynasty members, then sending gifts for opinion gain is really nice. So that can be beneficial. None of these are very good. In customs, I think the custom tree is just bad, except for this last one, celebrating other cultures' decisions. Most decisions are pretty weak, but this one is actually pretty strong, celebrating other cultures. Every single culture in your realm gets this huge buff of discount on buildings, increased control growth, increased development growth. It's expensive, but very, very strong. However, I don't recommend going down that entire tree just for that one decision. It's not going to change your game, and getting all of these that are basically worthless is not worth it. Activities is actually maybe one of the strongest ones in the game, because maxing out some of these trait experiences will give you a lot of stats. Um, Let me see if I can show you on here. So these are all the stats coming from my traveler. Trait, and this is maxed out because I have those dynasty legacies, the event ones. This is a lot of stats. This is a lot of stats, and I'm not even maxed out. I think I did 2 tournaments, and I got all of this. Again, that's from this Dynasty Legacy Tree activities. It just gives you way more experience for everything you do and makes things way cheaper. Like this, Grand Weddings 50% cheaper. If you're not doing Grand Weddings, you're missing out on massive, massive bonuses. Really strong. I think this whole tree is really strong. Warfare, I think, is very, very weak. I don't recommend getting it ever. I think building buildings in your holdings and just having like a full army, no matter how full it is, like how strong it is going to be more than enough to defeat any empire in the game. So getting these warfare legacies is just useless, in my opinion. I don't think any of them are strong enough to warrant getting them. I think this first one in law is really good, making hunts and feasts cheaper. And then if you are conquering a lot, getting some extra control growth is a lot nice, but nothing else is very strong until you get here. Getting an extra domain limit, not just for you, but for your entire dynasty. That is huge. That adds up to a lot of extra domains. If you look, I have 741 living members currently. This perk is giving my dynasty 741 extra domain limit. Collectively, obviously, but very strong. Maybe the strongest one overall in the mid to late game. Guile, I think, is really good, mainly for this last one. Everything you ask any intimidating vassal to do, they accept 100% of the time. You can basically revoke anything from anybody, anytime you want. Having dread is the way that you intimidate your vassals. I'm only at 25 dread, and my heir is terrified of me. So, pretty easy to get that terrified modifier on your vassals, and having them all accept everything you do is very strong. If you are going for a high intrigue, I think these are pretty strong. This one's the best, though. Fortunately, it's the last one. I think a lot of people have done blood. I usually go to the third one. I don't continue on. I don't think these two are all that crazy. But if you're doing any kind of eugenics, this is absolutely necessary. In this specific run where I was going for renown, I got this first one in this iridation skill tree really early on for this court grandeur bonus, a flat 5, that's half a level. Pretty nice. The rest of these are just not that very strong. But this first one's pretty good. I think Glory was in the base game. You didn't need any DLC to unlock Glory, and actually I had never unlocked it before this one, but really strong. Max Sway Schemes +1, really strong. can sway a lot of people really fast. Increasing your vassal limit, another court grandeur bonus, really strong. Vassals are less likely to join claimant factions, really nice. Again, I don't know if I talked about this in this video, but having a personal scheme phase length of 20 days faster makes a big difference. If you get this perk here in intrigue, twice schemed, you can run 2 hostile schemes at the same time, meaning that you can go to find character, search for somebody who has an inspiration and is not a ruler, and you can abduct them. Once you have the necessary perks, you can either abduct them or you can just fabricate a hook on them, and then they will be forced to come to your court and make you whatever their inspiration is. With this, you can do it twice, but it can take a while unless you have some of these perks, like this one. It's in this tree as well, but if you have this one, it's 20 days faster on both schemes, which really adds up. This is a bunch of bonuses that are really pretty good. Accolades, I think, are super broken. If you're not using Accolades, you are missing out on a huge part of the game. This one gives me a lot more siege weapons. I mean, there's so many different ones. This one guarantees to give me Blade Master. You can actually find someone with this trait on a pilgrimage, just as a hint, and then you can employ them as your Blade Master accolade. Getting an extra accolade, really, really strong. Kind of hidden strong. And then this monthly court grandeur change, really strong if you're doing a Dynasty run. This one is nice for the marriage acceptance, but weak. Everything else on this is really strong. Really kind of cool. And then kin, this graceful aging, also super, super strong. Just crazy strong. Because if you look at your characters when they get really old, let's look at this guy. He lived to 111, and he didn't lose any prowess. Base prowess was 43 from his different traits, plus 10 from his weapon, 10 from his armor. He was over 60. He was around 70 prowess, and my first ruler basically ended his life with 0 prowess because of aging. And then that perk, graceful aging, you end with a lot more prowess. And prowess, it does give you damage battles, but more importantly, it makes it so you're less likely to get hurt in just all those events you get while playing the game. If you have high prowess, even when you're old, you live a lot longer. I think that's what makes it so strong. The rest of these are nice if you want a big dynasty, more fertile, better education traits, less complications in pregnancy. This boost, it doesn't give a percentage, but it is actually really impactful. Before I got this specific legacy, I had a lot of kids die in childbirth, and after I got this legacy, I didn't have a single one. So I don't know what the percentage is, but it must be pretty big. And then this House Paragon accolade is really, really strong for renown, an extra 15% renown. That's 3 buildings owned by, because most buildings give 5%, so this is worth 3 buildings. And then it also gives some extra stuff. So very strong accolade. I think this whole skill tree is really good. This whole skill tree is really good. Glory is really good. And then those other ones I mentioned mixed in. Good luck on your next playthrough. Do I recommend doing a Dynasty Legacy playthrough? Whew. It took me a long time, but I think it was worth it. It's really fun. The last 20 years or so, I just let the game run so I could collect that. The renown I needed for the last few. I'm loading up right now where I kind of just hit the play button and clicked through all the stuff that popped up. So I can show you my realm when I was still playing. This is it, the Arabian Empire. I'm actually one decision away from creating the Muslim hegemony title. I have to go to my faith. Where is it? Jeez. Here it is. I have to go to my faith, create the head of faith, and then once I take over this kingdom, because he controls some of northern Africa, then I can actually take this decision. I need to control this region, and then I need to create the Persian Empire, which I can already do. So I just need to create this. I need to conquer this guy who has Mallorca. He's one of my dynasty members. I granted him independence. Didn't realize he was here. It's kind of a bummer. I could have withdrawn this vassal actually for free. And then done it. It's probably what I should have done, but that's right. I don't even know how that ended up in his domain. But yeah, really cool. Really fun playthrough. If you go down to almost any duchy in the game, it's held by my dynasty member. All of them, all the duchies. Down to the duchies. What a game. What a fun game. Super fun. Alright, thank you all for watching. And that's all I have.